Hey up, I'm Guy Kestivan, the Tester Man, and this is my review of the Magicshine Monteer Nebula 3500. Quite a rare beast is this, because it's a relatively low-powered light, well, mid-powered, we'll get into that in a minute, that still comes with a separate battery pack. So most lights now in this category are all contained, and Magicshine do a 3000 lumen light which is fully self-contained. So where I think this light really works is as a helmet light, because obviously you can put that battery pack into your bike pack or into a waist bag and then have what is a very lightweight helmet mount, what is a very lightweight head just mounted on your helmet. And that also suits the beam you're getting with this light and the controls. So let's dig into the details and kind of flesh out why I think that. First up, $189.99 retail in theory. $169.99 is what they're listed on at the moment on the Magicshine UK website. So 5 LEDs in the head unit, which give you the option of a 32-degree floodlight or a 21-degree spotlight at 1800 and 1400 lumens respectively, or both together, which is 3200. So not quite sure why it's called the 3500. They've overreached themselves a bit there. And then you've got 5 modes you can scroll through, from 10%, 25%, 50%, and then full power. And then you've got a flashing mode, or you can have it on just the spot or just the flood. So you've got a range of modes to manage runtime, but unlike that more expensive Monteer 8000 we looked at, there's no remote with this. So you've just got that little button on the top there to move through modes. And obviously with that flash mode, part way through the menu, you're going to, there's a bit of a leap of faith going on there with the scrolling. So again, it kind of suits just picking the output that's going to work for you and then leaving it in that, which again suits a helmet mount better. And the beam itself works better as a helmet light as well, because you can see it quite clearly in the riding footage there. There's a very, very pronounced hotspot in the center of the light from that spot beam. And so when you're using it on the bars, you can see there's a very, very sort of binary coverage and a really obvious kind of step down from that spot to the flood, which can get pretty tiring quite quickly as well, because it's quite a bright white light as well. It's not a very warm color temperature, so that can be distracting. It's all right on sort of wide open stuff, not much of an issue. It's just like, okay, it just looks like a sort of RAF roundel from aircraft. But once you start getting to trees and different bushes and things coming past you at different speeds and different distances, then you don't need the added distraction of having 2 distinct different light sources showing you that detail. So again, I think it works. I mean, to be honest, you could probably just use it as a spotlight on your head. You don't really need the peripheral on it. And you can see here where we're comparing it to other mid-powered lights, although that spot beam does give, tremendous throw down the trail. It's got a really good long distance punch to it. So if you, on less technical trails, you're riding fast or using it for gravel or something like that, then that's great in terms of power. But considering the majority of the power is meant to be going to a 32-degree flood beam, it really doesn't look like that in the comparison videos there. The effect of that kind of binary beam just makes it look like the flood is actually much weaker than that spot beam, and that really dominates the way the light looks on the trail. Half the time you feel like a cat chasing a laser pointer. But also that lack of fill to the sides, even though it should be there, it's just, you can see clearly there it's not, and that means you're just not getting that same level of sort of consistent, easily processed feedback of the wider trail picture, which is not only what you rely on for spotting roots, rocks and things like that, but the overall context of the trail you're riding. So while it comes with the bar mount, and it's quite a neat one, it's a little lightweight one, it's Garmin style, so just a bayonet turn on it, and then you get varying lengths of little straps that you just hook in, and then you adjust the Allen key at the front. You get the Allen key with it, and so that it actually works pretty well with sort of different shaped bars. As long as they're not too tapered, it'll grip on most bars, so it's okay if you've got all-in-one style cockpit. But ideally you want to get yourself a helmet mount, and interestingly Magicshine UK don't actually offer that, but you can find Garmin style helmet mount brackets from quite easily from other suppliers. Going back to the hardware, that's a 5200 milliamp battery. It's smaller than the Design, it's smaller than the Raveman, but actually, on run times, when I've tested it in the workshop, the standard run through the battery life 3 times just to double check, rather than just relying on manufacturers' claimed figures, it actually lasts longer than the Raveman and lasts almost as long as that Design, which again suggests that it's not putting out as much power as Magicshine claim. Certainly not even as much as the 3200 they claim, let alone the 3500, which has somehow ended up in the name. But on the plus side, while using separate does make a slightly more awkward issue, you've got cable to deal with, obviously you've got to find somewhere on the frame for your battery to go if you're not using it as a helmet light. That does give you another point of reference for your battery life, and it also works as a USB-C power bank, so you can recharge other devices from the battery on there. But otherwise, the only lighting runtime feedback is the color of that rubber light is the color of the rubber switch on top, which will gradually sort of scroll down in a traffic light manner to amber and then red. And at the point it starts flashing red, it'll drop down to just one either flood or spot, depending on what you had it in before, and it'll cut down the power quite dramatically. And then after it goes flashing, you haven't got long. It's only about 10 minutes between low battery warning to fully lights out, so bear that in mind when you're using the light. But on the plus side, it's relatively easy switch to find, even with gloves, even in cold conditions. And again, because it's a separate, you can just unplug the battery, so it's not going to accidentally go off in your pocket, which is always useful. And so, yeah, I mean, God, this review has been all over the place. I've kind of gone backwards, I've come forwards. It's going to be a right cut and shut and job, this. And you could say I should have constructed a more coherent and cohesive review of the light before I started shooting my mouth off. But the truth is, it's a bit of a strange light, this. I mean, obviously, you've got the convenience of a separate battery pack and long enough lead and lightweight head if you want to use it on the helmet, and the fact it's not something, it's not super communicative and you haven't got a remote control, so it's better as a kind of set and forget light anyway. All works towards it being a helmet light, but then it comes with a bar mount, but not a helmet mount. And then if you do use it on the bars, and you do try and get that full power out of it, it's a very, very hot spot, sort of burnt out power, which is quite difficult to use in technical conditions. But also, I don't think it's as bright as Magicshine are saying it is. And that's kind of borne out by the run times I'm getting from it. And while it's always quite hard to gauge whether a light is throttling back on the trail, because your eyes adjust to different lighting conditions over time, if the light gradually fades out, and I haven't got a lux meter to do a specific pinpoint test on it, even if that is happening, which would explain why this battery kind of lasts longer than it should for the output, then you kind of get into the same conclusion anyway. So in summary, this Nebula is quite nebulous in sort of what it's trying to be and what it's delivering. And I think most people will probably be better served with the integrated 3000 lumen bar light, which I have got. I've not got the current model, but I had the previous model. And that's a really solid light. Again, doesn't seem as powerful as Magicshine is suggesting on the trail, but if you want a convenience of a bar mount with a better beam pattern, then I'd go for that light. But if you do want separate batteries with a head unit, you can use either on the bars or on your helmet, and you're happy to work around those beam patterns and sort of a lack of detailed communication from the light, then I guess this Monteer 3500 is the Magicshine for you. But as I've said in all these lights reviews, I normally have them on the desk so I can talk to you about them. But yeah, I've gone through a whole load of different lights, particularly in this mid-power, mid-price section. So we've got Design, we've got Raven, we've got US Exposure, we've got Cat Eye, we've got Outbound, and potentially some more coming in. So make sure, you know, don't make an immediate buying decision if you haven't watched through all those lights reviews yet, because hopefully by the end of it, we'll have found a light that does suit exactly what you want, whatever your power needs or your depth of pocket are. And if you've got any feedback on any of these lights, whether it's the Magicshine or other ones I've just mentioned there, then always great to hear from you guys in the comments, because then obviously you're adding your feedback to my experience, and that just creates a much better breadth of knowledge, breadth of experience, and more user case scenarios to enrich the review with. So thanks to everyone who's already commented on the other lights reviews, and if you've got something to say here, I'll see you in the comments.